Thank you for joining us on our news desk yet again. The headlines. President Ed Galungu says it is shameful for men to beat women as a show of love. A 20-year-old woman of Chavuma district has lost a leg after she was attacked by a crocodile whilst fishing in the Zambezi River. Here now is the news in detail. President Ed Galungu says it is shameful for men to beat women as a show of love. President Lungu has observed that about 46% of men believe that beating their spouses is a show of love. Speaking when he graced this year's International Women's Day in Lusaka, President Lungu also lamented that women marriage counselors teach girls that men are better than women. President Lungu says he finds this teaching to be embarrassing. He states that it is equally a source of concern to government that the number of gender-based violence cases are still increasing in the country. President Lungu has further acknowledged that there is more that needs to be done to deal with the issue of gender inequality in the country. He has urged traditional leaders to help in achieving a gender equality Zambian society.
Thousands of women from all walks of life today joined the globe in commemorating the 2020 International Women's Day under the theme I Am Generation Equality, Realizing Women's Rights. The commemorations, which were held in the Lusaka showgrounds, were preceded by a tour of various exhibition stands by President Ed Galungu, who later honored a march past of the women from over 90 organizations, government departments, and political parties. Among the notable women organizations who took part in the march past were women from various opposition political parties, specifically from the Opposition United Party for National Development, who have previously shunned such national events. Addressing the women after the march past, President Ed Galungu bemoaned that it is shameful for men to beat women as a show of love, as he called for concerted efforts in helping bring an end to GBV.
Let me say again, realizing the objective of gender equality between man and woman has not been easy in Zambia because our society is still strongly patriarchal and determined by male values. You hate His Excellency Shaheed Affairs of Zambia from United States explained how still 46% or more Zambia still believe that beating a woman is a sign of love. Shame. These patriarchal values which put down a woman should be fought and overcome in our generation. Starting with us now. Ladies and gentlemen, let me say, my government is committed to ensuring that women and men, girls and boys, are given equal value and opportunities in all areas of social economic development.
The United Nations and the United States were represented. Anne Mary Mlenga is NGOCC board chairperson.
In partnership with the government of the Republic of Zambia, the United States government remains steadfast as we work together promoting the rights of women and the girl child. At its core, the mission of the United States Embassy here in Zambia comes down to two things. Working together, we save lives and we improve lives for them.
This year's International Women's Day theme therefore calls us all to action. The year 2020 is pivotal for advancing gender equality worldwide as the global community takes stock of progress made for women's rights since the adoption of the Beijing Platform for Action. It will also mark several other galvanizing moments in the gender equality movement.
As stressed by the head of state, more needs to be done to deal with the issue of gender inequality in the country, and stakeholders who include traditional leaders, the church, and various NGOs need to come in and work closely with governments and communities in addressing the situation. Nakaonga reporting for KTV News in Lusaka.
Swedish Ambassador Anna Hautgard says women's rights are very important to the whole world. Ms. Hautgard says this is why the Swedish Embassy has engaged the Zambian government and various stakeholders in dialogue in order to help in the promotion of gender equality. And Ms. Hautgard says International Women's Day, which falls on the 8th of March annually, is an important day to be celebrated once every year. Speaking during a live special interview on QFM, Ms. Hautgard expressed happiness that the commemoration of International Women's Day in Lusaka was a colorful and a vibrant event. Ms. Hautgard believes that the commemoration, which was graced by President Edgar Lungu, was a strong manifestation of women's rights.
I think that's a very, very good question. It means to me and to the embassy and to us as representing Sweden in Zambia that we will, when we partner with Zambia in development cooperation, we have a very strong gender equality focus. So that needs to be addressed in all the work we do with Zambia from our side. We have strong support to organizations that work on women's rights and gender equality. And we also have in what we call public diplomacy, that the dialogue that I have with ministers, including the president himself, where I actually raised the issue of gender equality, a good and a very good discussion on the topic.
Zambia National Service ZNS officer based at Kalindi checkpoint in Mushindamo district has committed suicide by hanging himself to an avocado tree using a wire. The officer, identified as Kalima Musukuma, aged 43 years, committed suicide after attempting to shoot his workmates with an AK-47 rifle. Northwestern Province Commissioner of Police Hadson Namachila has confirmed the development to Zanis in Mushindamo today. Mr. Namachila has explained that the deceased, a staff sergeant of Kamitonte ZNS base, who was on patrol in Kalindi area, differed with some of his workmates yesterday. He further said the deceased in the process pulled out an AK-47 rifle and attempted to shoot them, but they managed to disarm him. Mr. Namachila narrates that after the incidents, the deceased is reported to have gone to bed, but was later discovered dead in the morning around 06 hours. He adds that police officers visited the scene and found the body hanging with no visible injuries detected. Mr. Namachila says the body of the deceased has been deposited at Solwezi General Hospital mortuary, awaiting post-mortem. A 20-year-old woman of Mungole area in Chavuma district has lost a leg after she was attacked by a crocodile whilst fishing in the Zambezi River. Northwestern Province Commissioner of Police Hadson Namachila, who confirmed the development to Zanis in Solwezi today, has identified the victim as Priska Kambenja. Mr. Namachila says the victim was attacked last Saturday on March 7th around 04 hours as she was fishing with her mother and sustained a deep cut on her left thigh. He says the victim's leg has since been amputated at Chavuma Mission Hospital, where she is currently admitted. Forum for Development and Democracy FDD leader Edith Nawakwi has praised President Edgar Lungu for considering options towards setting up a commission of inquiry into the countrywide gassing incidents. Ms. Nawakwi says there is no sane person who can walk into a hospital where women are delivering babies and throw in some toxic substance without any regard to the untold suffering induced on babies, mothers and medical staff. Giving an update on the progress made in the application of national values and principles during the 4th session of the 12th National Assembly on Friday, March 6, 2020, President Lungu assured citizens that government is considering appointing a commission of inquiry into gassing of targeted households, private and public institutions in Zambia. Ms. Nawakwi has told QTV News in an interview that such despicable acts of aggression had brought fear among the people of Zambia, thus giving credence to a commission of inquiry such as a probe once constituted establish the real masterminds. Ms. Nawakwi says the police of Zambia and the people of Zambia wants to see justice prevail by making sure that suspects and anyone yet to be nabbed are taken to court for a fair prosecution, as everyone is not guilty until proven guilty. The opposition leader says the commission of inquiry and eventual prosecution of suspects will help create a safer Zambia. The FDD leader has noted that a firm prosecution of suspects will curb the ongoing and future gassing actions.
I think the people of Zambia want to see justice by making sure that these people are taken to the courts of law. Maybe when they talk in court, they can tell us what motivated them. Is it financial? Is it political? And because of the many things that has happened and around the country, I think it's in that vein that our head of state says that he wants to institute a commission of inquiry to look at other events that have surrounded it. It's not just the gassing, it's instant killing of people. You just see someone walking and say, I suspect Edith Nawakwi to be a criminal, and you'll be eliminated. It appears to me that even people who had issues with their friends, they just, I mean, it's so frightening. I had some young people in Luwingu distributing bean seed, and they were stopped and said, where are you coming from? And there were two ladies in there and two gentlemen in the vehicle. They are not from that area, and they were stopped and they were interrogated, save luckily they were with a local person in the vehicle. And by the way, I had sent them to Luwingu to distribute bean seed for the women groups there. This is a development activity. Now you see, if we are going to settle scores simply on suspicion, I think it's totally unacceptable. And I think it's that the Commission of Inquiry, I suspect, will address issues surrounding not.
Oxfam Zambia Programs Manager for Women Rights, Fides Temba Nsofu, has expressed concern over statistics indicating that 20,000 divorce cases were recorded in 2019 in Zambia. Ms. Temba is heartbroken that in 2019 over 20,000 marriages were dissolved countrywide, with Lusaka, Eastern and Western provinces recording 4,000 divorces. Among the reasons cited as to why affected couples sought divorce certification include infidelity, adultery, gender-based violence, GBV, and poor communication skills among estranged spouses. But when reached for a comment, Ms. Temba says ramifications of divorce cases are beyond affected spouses, as biological children and dependents are all traumatized once a marriage breakup is sanctioned by a court. She has told QTV News that there is urgent need to address this issue, stressing that failure to do so will increase the number of street children. And Ms. Temba Nsofu says failure to disclose the actual number of wedding ceremonies conducted countrywide in 2019 is not good, as such statistics once shared, they help in establishing viability of marital engagements.
But then we are not comparing. We needed to find out how many marriage ceremonies did we have in the year 2019, yeah? Compared, those are registered marriages, yeah? Compared, because if people go to court for divorce, it means those are legal marriages, yeah? So for me, I think we also need to have statistics of how many got married and how many were divorced, so that it becomes a very good comparison case, yeah? We could say, okay, we are doing well, or we are doing bad, or we are heading on the wrong track. But just to say that it's actually worrying, meaning the families are not doing their job, because marriage is an institution, and in our traditional circles in Zambia, when people are getting married, the family is fully involved. What is the role of the family in this? What is the family doing? What is the community doing? Where is the church? I think that is my question. I think we need to do our homework because we are actually breeding a social problem. I would look at the number of children who are traumatized, number of children who are bitter, number of women who are bitter as a result of divorce. Some of them come out of these divorces with nothing. And whether I work or I do not work, the fact that I'm married to somebody, I spend my time. This is the uncared work for women that we talk about. And if I'm going to come out of that divorce with nothing, are you telling me you are taking a well-balanced woman in the society? You are.
Zambia has submitted her initial offer in the framework of the ongoing services negotiation of the African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA. Zambia's offer to the AFCFTA includes liberalization of commitments in business, communication, transport, finance, tourism and travel-related services. During a technical meeting convened by the African Union of Trade and Services, Zambia Embassy Councillor Economic Mrs. Linda Mbangweta stated that with regards to the business services, tourism and travel-related services, Zambia's market was unbound as long as the companies were registered in Zambia and were compliant with the country's Employment and Immigration Acts. Ms. Mbangweta says the offer Zambia has made to the CFTA includes the issuance sector and the insurance sector, as the country has still been reviewing regulation in the sector, but further added that Zambia still reserved the right to amend, withdraw and make additional offers during the negotiation process. The AFCFTA negotiations on trade and services meeting was chaired by Zambia's ambassador and permanent representative to the African Union, His Excellency Mr. Emmanuel Mwamba. The meeting was called in compliance with the instruction from the African Union Ministers of Trade meeting that was held on the 14th of December 2019 in Accra, Ghana. Zambia is the current chair of the Special Technical Committee, STC, and Zambia's representative to the African Union, His Excellency Emmanuel Mwamba, chaired the meeting that has attracted member states from across Africa. The AFCFTA will be operationalized in July 2020. An extraordinary summit for heads of state in the CFTA will be held in May 2020 in South Africa to conclude outstanding matters on the largest market on the continent. This is contained in a press statement made available to QTV News at the Zambian Embassy in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, Inotu Mwanza. Pambashe parliamentarian Ronald Chitotela says 5 girls from Pambashe will land themselves 100% scholarships in tourism-related programs in Europe's top 10 universities in 2021. Speaking during the International Women's Day commemoration at Kaka Primary School in Pambashe, Kawambwa, the lawmaker who dabbles as tourism and arts minister says he managed to secure a total of 30 scholarships for Zambia, and 10 will go to Pambashe, broken down as 5 females and 5 to pursue bachelor's and master's degree programs in tourism. He has since asked community representatives to identify girls and young women with the best grade 12 results and those that have shown prowess in their academic path and want to pursue studies up to master's degree level in tourism so that they are assured into the United Nations World Tourism Organization sponsored program. Mr. Chitotela says this is a sure way of interpreting this year's theme of I am a generation of equality, realizing women's rights. He says when women are given equal rights, they have proved to bring the multiplier effect to any production process, including in homes, as proven in how they prudently use financial resources better than men. The area member of parliament says President Edgar Lungu has shown at the highest level that the gender equality has come to stay and the progressive way of running government by the first ever female vice president, Inonge Mutukwawina.
Mkwaifu bakwete abana kashi, those that have done very well. Abapashire wino. Mumpere kwa mashinari 5. Tureba kuma kuyuro kumukusambirira. Kuko kule kulipira konango kama. Afenso mbile kwa abana kashani. Abana kashi. Tulinge panawa umekulingani. Ati. Pandu kulinga. Tuwalabika pona abami abali 5. So kuna kafuma abantu abali 10. Abana kashi abali 5. We will have 5 girls, those that have done very well, and 5 boys, total 10 that will be sponsored by UNW to go in any of the top 10 universities in Europe.
We, as women of Pambasha constituency, have joined the rest of the world in working towards the Each for Equal campaign, because collectiveness as women will not only lead us to individual success, but collective success as well. As the Each for Equal campaign is supporting women to earn on their terms, we too are appealing to the Patriotic Front government to be empowered in activities that will help us grow as women and as a nation at large. The campaign is also working towards forging ahead with inclusive workplace so that the women can thrive. Pambasha has various government work projects going on, which we are so happy
And Joanne Sunga, who spoke for the women, said women in the constituency have joined the rest of the world in working towards the Each for Equal campaign. She says the campaign is supporting women to earn their terms, and hence the women in the area want government to empower the women with activities that will help them grow and develop the nation. Ms. Sunga says working towards forging ahead with inclusive workspace so that women can thrive, and that women were happy with the various developmental projects that women are participating in. Zambia National Students Union ZANASU President Meshek Kakonde has called on Zambians to reject political parties promoting tribal talk as the country moves closer to the 2021 presidential, parliamentary and local government elections. Mr. Kakonde has implored the Zambia Police Service to effectively probe and prosecute political leaders deemed as campaigning on tribal inclination. He has told QTV News in an interview that tribal talk, if not curbed and discouraged, can cause civil strife among the Zambian people. Mr. Kakonde has further admonished politicians to desist from raising tribal sentiments, as such careless utterances incite genocide, as was the case in Rwanda.
And towards the 2021 elections, I think we would want to ensure that those that think that tribalism is what will take them to State House or any position, be it at councillor level, member of parliament, or any government position, you must understand to say you cannot divide Zambians, you cannot divide the youths based on your rantings. We want to admonish everyone who wants to engage in tribal talk to desist, and the police, where possible, should be able to catch such a person, because such a person is divisive and can even cause fire in this country. We only have one Zambia to save. When there is, like conflict and the like, we know to say some people that just rant anyhow won't even be in Zambia at that time. So as ZANASU, we say towards the 2021 election, people should desist from tribal talk but base their ideas on the table on what they want to do for Zambia.
UPND Nkema Member of Parliament Kapelwa Mbangweta has expressed dissatisfaction over the Presidential National Address on progress made in the application of national values and principles. Mr. Mbangweta feels that the President's speech failed to meet people's expectations. He has told QTV News in an interview that President Lungu should have highlighted what his government is doing to curb corruption in the country, as opposed to lamenting. Mr. Mbangweta adds that there is too much corruption under the current leadership, and people expected the President to tell the nation what his government is doing to address the issue. Meanwhile, Mr. Mbangweta is concerned that President Lungu also failed to address the issues of tribalism as expected. He says the head of state has powers, but he is not using them.
When you talk about discrimination, it's under this government where we have had bigotry in the recent past at the very highest. Cabinet ministers are using tribalism, but he's not doing anything about it. If he won't do anything about it himself, who does he expect to do something about it? And then these are the issues where you say, is what you do. If he had dismissed those people, then he can have the right to talk about that you should stop tribalism. You politicians stop tribalism. Yes, because he's in a position. He's got the instruments of power, but he's not using them. You see the point? And so that's why I'm saying for you to appreciate this speech in terms of reporting on values and principles, you should start from the conclusion. The conclusion is where you actually see how values take root in a setting. So it means that here, when he was growing up, even if your father and mother were not there, the community could look after you. And so it meant that the value then was the fact that individuals who had no parents were looked after, and they became useful citizens. Not here in this country, you are talking about corruption, but you are not doing anything about it. And then you come and indicate that you are introducing subjects of corruption in schools.
A traditional leader from Yuka Ward in Kalaba District, Western Province, says 150 maize fields have been submerged due to flash floods that have ravaged the area. Kalonga Village Headman Representative Pelekelo Kalonga has appealed to government through the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, DMMU, to send relief food to avert the looming hunger in the ward. Mr. Kalonga told Zanis in an interview that farmers in the area are forced to prematurely harvest their maize in order to protect it from heavy floods. He has named the affected areas in the ward as Yuka Mission, Namungu, Lilengo, Kanchumwa, and Mashesha, with a total population of 8,072 affected people. And Kalaba District Commissioner Frida Luhila says no one will die of hunger in the area as government has enough relief maize and mealie meal to distribute to all the affected places. Before we go into international news, let's have a real look at the headlines once again. President Edgar Lungu says it is shameful for men to beat women as a show of love. And a 20-year-old woman of Chavuma district has lost a leg after she was attacked by a crocodile whilst fishing. A traditional leader from Yuka Ward in Kalaba district, Western Province, says over 150 maize fields have been submerged due to flash floods that have ravaged the area. Kalonga Village Headman Representative Pelekelo Kalonga has appealed to government through the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, DMMU, to send relief food to avert the looming hunger in the ward. Mr. Kalonga has told Zanis in an interview that farmers in the area are forced to prematurely harvest their maize in order to protect it from heavy floods. He has named the affected areas in the wards as Yuka Mission, Namungu, Lilengo, Kanchumwa, and Mashesha, with a total population of 8,072 affected people. And Kalaba District Commissioner Frida Luhila says no one will die of hunger in the area as government has enough relief maize and mealie meal to distribute to all the affected places. We have sports news coming up, but before that, here's a recap of stories in the main headlines. President Edgar Lungu says it is shameful for men to beat women as a show of love. And a 20-year-old woman of Chavuma district has lost a leg after she was attacked by a crocodile whilst fishing. We now turn to sport. Travel to Bike Managing Director Dek De Hauster has encouraged local bikers to make use of the October bike competition opportunity. De Hauster says Zambia will host the first ever mountain bike competition in Livingstone from the 1st to the 3rd of October. He says the mountain bikes event will bring on board more than 20 international bikers. That sporting item concludes the news. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Bye-bye. God bless.
Yes, they have good accommodation. They have good local tour operators who has many experience with mountain bike, and we make a fantastic ride from Lusaka to the Victoria Falls for 600 kilometers on off-road routes. There are coming 20 foreign riders on board. We want to make a classic of it, and we do it for the 15th time. It's an anniversary, and we come with the former world champion Philippe Mera and Olympic silver in Sydney. It's for 10 days. We come from the 1st from October till the 13th, and we